They just showed off everything that's being added to DMZ for Modern Warfare 2 Season 3, and it is by far the biggest DMZ overhaul we've ever seen. They're adding 4 new types of armor vests that all do a bunch of different stuff, 2 new backpacks, a skeleton key, new contracts, new factions, active duty slots, 2 new bosses, 2 new ways to exfil, and so much more. We're going to be showcasing everything in this video in a rapid style format. That way you can quickly watch this video and get right back into game with no waste of time. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, make sure to unlock that subscribe button. Now, moving into the blog post, the first thing they talk about is the barter system. We've talked about this in the past, but they give us some more information here. Across every exclusion zone, all buy stations will have a new option in addition to buying gear and weapons for cash: bartering. This is where you use recipes. These give instructions to your operator, including a component list in order to build new equipment that can be more useful for your current situation. In other words, bartering is where you exchange items for other items. At the start of Season 3, some bartering recipes will be available for most of the new plate carriers and backpacks. So this is probably going to be the best way to get the new plate carriers and backpacks they're adding, which they do talk about later in this blog post. And trust me, you're going to want these. These are absolute game changers. But on top of that, you can get kill streaks, self-revive kits, and keys. Hopefully the keys they allow you to get are some of the more rare keys, the ones that you need for faction missions. This would allow people, instead of just constantly grinding for keys they're trying to get to complete faction missions, they can get the items, use the recipe, get that key. That way they're able to go in and, finish that mission easier. However, each exclusion zone has its own set of barter options across its buy station, adding one more additional element to fully explore everything in DMZ. So with the new plate carriers and backpacks, you might only be able to barter for it on Building 21, or Ashika Island, or Al Mazrah. Not everything available at one bartering station is going to be available on all the different maps. So to get specific items, you're going to kind of have to learn what comes from where, and I'll have videos on that when it launches. And I'm guessing the more hardcore items are going to come from Building 21, and that's going to be a hard place to barter for because there's only one buy station in Building 21, making it a hot commodity. If the best plate carrier comes from Building 21, I could see it a little bit tricky to get it, but we'll just have to wait to see when it comes out. They also state these recipes range from operator items like bomb drones and self-revive kits to other important keys and items. The barter system is ready to help operators stock up on those harder to find items and reward them for their scavenging efforts. What this sounds like to me is those items for missions that are really hard to find, like the blowtorch and the GPU, there's probably going to be recipes for them. So instead of just constantly scavenging around the map trying to find a GPU or a blowtorch, you might be able to get a bunch of different items, combine those together, get the blowtorch, and finish the mission, which to me adds a lot more ways to play the game instead of just continuously going around the map looking for a blowtorch. The next new feature they talk about is contraband workbenches. These are pretty self-explanatory. These aren't at the buy stations, but they're near them. You can see in this pic, there's a buy station right here, and like 3 or 4 feet away, there's a contraband workbench. What these allow you to do is take contraband weapons, add attachments you've unlocked, and remove attachments you don't want on there, and you're going to have to pay a little bit of cash for it. That's pretty much the whole system explained. They do it in a bunch of words down here, but to put it simply, this allows you to put attachments on and remove attachments from weapons you find in DMZ. Now, this is where things start to get really interesting. New backpacks, Secure, and Scavenger. This is what they look like. So one of these is going to be the Scavenger backpack, and the other one's going to be the Secure backpack. Let's see what they do. Secure backpacks, as the name suggests, secure items between runs. This means the non-contraband, non-on-soldier items are secure in your inventory and don't convert to XP upon exfiltration. Plus, items in a secure backpack are kept to that active duty soldier if they are eliminated during a match. So this means at the end of the match, you're going to keep everything you had in your inventory unless it was an on-soldier item. An on-soldier item would be like a UAV. Anything you can equip to your soldier is an on-soldier item. So the stuff you'd be able to sell at buy stations, that's the stuff that's going to stay in your inventory. So if you've got a GPU mission and you've got one of these backpacks, you're going to be able to exfil with that GPU and bring it in the next game. So any items like that, you're going to keep. More importantly, if you die, you're also going to keep those items. I think you're probably going to lose the backpack, but let's say you've got the secure backpack, you've got it stocked up with GPUs and a bunch of other stuff. If you die, you're still going to have those items in your inventory once you load into the next game. I don't think you keep the backpack, so if you do die again without getting another one of these backpacks, you're going to lose them, but it essentially gives you a second chance, which is very interesting. Now for the new Scavenger backpacks, and these ones are pretty straightforward. This is essentially going to be a large backpack that takes out the third weapon slot and gives you even more storage. So right now in game, a large backpack has 9 slots for you to store items and a spot for a weapon. This, instead of having that weapon slot, is just going to have more storage. So it's probably going to have 12 slots for you to store stuff stuff, but you're not going to be able to keep a third weapon in this backpack. You're only going to have your primary, your secondary, but you're going to have a lot of room to store a lot of crap. Next, we've got the new plate carriers, and there's 4 of them. Yes, next season, you're going to be able to find 4 new types of armored vest: tempered, revived, comms, and stealth. This is what they look like. They all look vastly different. You're definitely not going to confuse them with one another. The first one they talk about is the tempered plate carrier. This one's also being added to Warzone. So with this is going to act like a 3-plate vest. However, it's only going to have 2 armor plate slots. So once you take damage and you plate up, you're only going to have to use 2 plates to get fully armored back up, and it's going to have the same amount of armor as a 3-plate would. So this armor vest allows you to fully plate up faster and use less plates to get the same result. Then we have the 3-plate medic vest. This is a 3-plate vest that allows you to revive teammates quicker, and it allows you to use self-revives quicker when you're down on the ground. So this is great if you've got teammates who go down constantly. That way you can get them back into the action even quicker. Next, we've got the 3-plate comms vest, and this might be the most broken vest in the entire game. This is a 3-plate vest that extends the duration of UAV kill streaks, UAV towers, and the radios dropped by the AI. Not only does this extend them, it also makes them function like an advanced UAV, which is a curse and a blessing. So now you're going to be able to see the direction they're going, but right now you can't tell the difference between a bot and a real player when using an advanced UAV, so that is kind of what nerfs this. So they are going to last longer, but it's going to be a little bit confusing trying to find the difference between a real player and AI. But on top of that, this vest also gives you another bonus. It gives you an audio cue when an enemy operator is close to you, like an audio version of the high alert perk. So not only is it going to extend the duration of the UAVs, make them act like advanced UAVs, it's also going to give you an audio cue when an enemy's close to you. So if you're playing solo and you're really listening, you're going to kind of understand what direction they're coming, because it acts like the high alert perk, which shows you the direction that the enemy's looking at you. This vest will allow you to hear and understand what direction the enemy operators are coming from. I can see this being extremely powerful on Ashika Island and Building 21. And finally, for our last new armor vest, we've got the stealth plate carrier, and this comes built in with the ghost perk. That's what this one does, which is interesting, but you can also get ghost from an Exfil streak. So if you've got a high Exfil streak and you already got ghost, this plate carrier is kind of useless. And funny enough, this is the only plate carrier where they didn't say that it was a 3-plate. For the comms vest, they called it a 3-plate comm vest. For the medic vest, they said 3-plate medic vest. This one just called the stealth plate carrier. So this could still be a 3-plate, but this might be a 2-plate. I'm not sure why they specifically would say that for all the other ones and then just leave it off of this. This plate carrier is going to be great for people who don't have an Exfil streak going yet, but once you get a higher Exfil streak and you get the ghost perk, this is going to be useless. They also talk about the new active duty operator slots in DMZ. This is a massive new feature. This is different characters you can use in DMZ. So let's say you go in, you use active duty operator number 1, you get a backpack, a kill streak, a gas mask, and a self revive. Then for your next game, you use active duty operator number 2, and then you end up dying and losing everything. You don't lose the stuff from your other active duty operators. These are essentially different save points for DMZ. It's like having different accounts almost. This is going to be so helpful in combination with the new armor vest and backpack. You can essentially have different classes. You could have your active duty slot number 1. This could have the stealth plate carrier and the backpack that allows you to store more items. Then active duty number 2 could have the recon vest, and it could have the backpack that allows you to keep items when you die, and so on. You could essentially have a bunch of different classes with different types of backpacks and plate carriers meant for different things, really allowing you to expand the different ways to play DMZ. They're also adding a new field upgrade called the Rebreather. If you played Raid episode number 1, you've seen this before. This allows you to stay underwater longer. When you use this field upgrade, it's going to reset the amount of time you're allowed to be underwater. It doesn't have unlimited uses. It's going to be like the stim pistol where you can use it a couple of times, but then it's going to break. But what's really interesting, it can be used as a two-handed melee tool in a pinch. So yes, you're going to be able to punch people with the Rebreather as a two-handed melee weapon, which is going to be interesting. We're definitely going to try that out once this update goes live. Next, they're adding a skeleton key. This is something I've wanted since DMZ's launched. If you don't know what a skeleton key is, this can open any door. It's one key. It can open anything. It can't be used as a Building 21 access key card, but I'm not sure why you'd want to use a skeleton key to get into Building 21. But once you're in Building 21, it can open any of those doors. The only way you can obtain this is through the new bartering system. So that's definitely one use case, and I'm going to try to stock up on a lot of these because this is going to be life-saving for those different faction missions that require certain keys. no longer do you have to worry about storing like, a room 304 key or whatever key. You can just keep one of these skeleton keys and use that to complete that mission. They're also adding a new redacted faction, and at launch, there's going to be 3 tiers worth of missions. So tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 missions. Tier 4 and 5 missions will be coming at the mid-season. They're also adding new bosses. They've stated there's 2 of them, as well as something completely redacted happening mid-season. So at mid-season, we're going to be getting even more content for DMZ. I'm excited to find the new bosses and see what they drop. They're also adding a new contract called Supply Run. With this contract, you're going to have to find different crates, and these crates are going to give you items. They say this is going to be a great way to re-gear after you just lost everything. And finally, they're adding a new vehicle and 2 new ways to exfil in DMZ. Yes, the heavy chopper can be found in DMZ, but once you find it, it's not going to have any fuel. You can't fly it. You've got to find a special type of fuel laying around the airport, and once you get the fuel, you're going to be able to fly this like normal. You can take it around the map, do a bunch of missions, but on top of that, if you take it out of bounds, a countdown's going to appear like the normal exfil would, and if you wait till the countdown hits 0, you're going to exfil from the match completely safe. This is going to be interesting. This was too OP for Warzone, so they removed it from Battle Royale. So hopefully this is going to kind of make DMZ a little bit more fun, allow you to do some missions and stuff. I don't want to see this used as a tool to just kill a bunch of players, but we'll have to see ultimately how that works. But on top of being able to use the new heavy chopper to exfil from DMZ, they're also adding something new to buy stations called a private exfil. Once bought, an exfil will be available on an unused exfil point on the map. Consider it an extra escape route. I love the fact they're adding new ways to exfil from DMZ. One of the biggest issues with the game right now is people just camp exfils. There's only 3 exfil spots on Al Mazrah, and there's 2 on Ashik Island. There's also, the hostage rescue contract, but there's not always a ton of those. So it's really easy for people just to camp these points because everyone's got to go there if they want to leave. Allowing 2 new ways to exfil from DMZ is hopefully going to make the camping the exfil strat way less popular, and you're not going to see as many people doing it because I don't think people camping exfils adds any value to the mode. But with that, guys, it is clear that DMZ is one of the main focuses for season 3. There's so much new stuff to test out. There's new bosses, new missions, new vehicles, new ways to exfil from the game. There's new backpacks, new plate carriers, new bosses. I think I already said that once, but there is a lot coming to this mode, and I am so excited to play it and try it all out. So make sure to sub to the channel if you want to see us test all this stuff out. And with that, guys, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.